Welcome everybody to PinstripeChronicles podcast. I am Tats. I'm here with Rob and Donald, and what a game it was yesterday. And it was just a rout. That was just abuse. It was awesome. Donald, you were actually there live in Pittsburgh with an H. And what can you tell us about the atmosphere of the game?
I'm glad that you said that. Not me from having to say that. Tats preempted the strike right there. I'm quite impressed by that. Okay, no, the PNC is incredible. What a place, man. It's just an incredible ballpark. It's probably one of the most beautiful ballparks in all of baseball, probably the most beautiful. The atmosphere was awesome. It was just full of Yankee fans. It was packed to the brim, and it was cool. It was just like a home. It was like a home game. Just the amount of Yankee shirts going around, it was like, oh, this is cool, really, really cool. And first 4 innings, I was like, we had a ton of opportunities, but we weren't able to put any runs on the board. And then we finally broke through, and then the floodgates opened. And after that, once they put their position player in, their second baseman in there,
that was it.
To throw batting practice. That was like a little dream. I was like, that's for Donald. We're coming all over to Pittsburgh. We're gonna throw some BP and watch some home runs, and it was fun. But by far the best moment was Aaron Judge's grand slam. I went nuts. The whole place went nuts. Whole place went insane. It was great.
It was just really strange because the first 4 innings, it was pretty much the offense was boring. It just couldn't get anything going. The first inning looked like both teams were going to, strike first, and obviously unsuccessful. Just two first and second inning double plays to end any type of momentum, and it's like, oh crap, here we go again.
Mm-hmm.
And Severino, after the first 2 guys got on, just pretty much shut them down. He had a phenomenal game on the mound. And what's great is he wasn't trying to get strikeouts. He was just getting very soft contact. The defense behind him was everything just started to click. And you did get that feeling that once they got to the middle of the game, it was just going to even come more together with the offense. And that's exactly what we got. I think the strangest thing of the night, never mind the 2 grand slams, one from Hicks with the position player, but it was the back-to-back from Donaldson and Gallo. And it was like, all right, this is different.
And what was funny about that was I was telling my friends at the game, I was like, oh, here's an automatic out. Donaldson here. He's awful. Boom. I'm like, okay. Well, Gallo, he really sucks. Just watch this guy. He has 164. This guy is
boom.
Wow. Okay.
Rob, what was your take on the events from yesterday?
We got some 4th of July fireworks on the 6th, so that was nice. It was weird because the first game and then the first 4 innings, it was the 2021 Yankees just failing with runners in scoring position, double plays, and thought we left that in the rear view. But then from like the 6th inning on or whatever it was, they poured it on them, and that was just good. We needed a game like that. Not really 22 hits, but you needed a game like that to get this offense's confidence back up because we got the 4 games of Boston. So, I mean, it was just great to see because at first you're like, really don't want to have to go to the wire with Pittsburgh here. And then next thing you know, it's 16-0. You're like, oh, okay, well, I can just sleep comfortably tonight. The team's hopefully ready to go to Boston. So, yeah, it was good. Sevy looked great. Offense started it up. A little bit late, but they got it going. Hopefully the team giving Gallo a little confidence boost gets him going between now and August 2nd. So if anything, he starts hitting another team wants him because Hal Steinbrenner gave him a vote of confidence. Boone gave him a vote of confidence. Gallo said he wants to stay. Don't think it's going to happen. However, if the vote of confidence gets him swinging the bat like he did yesterday, at least drawing some walks, hitting homers, whatever, that's fine with me for the next 26 days. And then the value goes up for him. So everybody contributed, though. I mean, it was very shocking to see them both go back-to-back because these have been 2 of the worst hitters, automatic outs for pretty much the whole season. So it was nice to see them two, especially those two, come through.
Yeah, no, it really was, because Donaldson was the guy that, on the show yesterday with Spencer. I'm like, I'm done with him. Like, I can't anymore. And then we also talked about how, I was done with Gallo. And Spencer was a little more hesitant to give up on them. And those are the guys that kind of got the offense really going with the power. But they were also getting, they would, the hit and runs, the stolen base, so you're starting to see that everybody was they were going back to what was working in the beginning of the year that got them to where they are.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, this is what's been missing. Patient at bats, aggressive base running, timely hit, the hit and runs, making sure that they put the bat on the ball. And the other thing that was really strange about yesterday is when you look at the box score, every batter had a hit. Nobody went 0 for yesterday. So I thought that was also something that was very telling, that everybody just nobody wanted to be that player that did not get a hit. And
especially against a position player. I mean,
yeah,
the guy's throwing BP. It's an ideal opportunity to get your batting average up. So everybody was like, oh, this is fun. I was particularly impressed with LeMahieu. He had a big game. Kind of Falefa at the bottom of the order, just doing his job. He wasn't doing anything spectacular. He was doing his job. He was getting on base. And Aaron Judge got out of his slump. That was awesome. But no, it just everybody contributed. It was really, and Higashioka, let's not forget, he had a home run that ran into the center field hedges there. Yeah. The Pirates hedges in the center field grass. So that was cool. Crushed that into there. Everybody contributed. What a game.
Yeah, no, that hit off that hit from Higgy, the home run. When he first hit, I'm like, God, it just seemed like a deep, pop out, deep fly ball, and it just kept going. And you're like, all right, this may scrape the wall, and then it ends up in the hedges. So the ball was carrying yesterday. Another player that I was keeping a little bit of an eye on was not a Yankee, was Brian Reynolds. What did you guys think about his playing? Now that we're watching him against the Yankees, he's been somebody that's been talked about as for a trade. We've talked about him being a trade prospect. What did you guys think about him? Did you think that he showed anything more or less about him being desired to be a Yankee?
Yeah, he's better than like half of our lineup. So he was already, even if he got like one hit this series, it's better than what we were getting from at least 3 spots in the lineup. When Higgy starts, I mean, the home runs are few and far between with him. Donaldson, Gallo, you could put Hicks in that list as well. Although I think I have like a week and a half left before I can say anything about him. So I'm counting those days down. However, no, I mean, Brian Reynolds would easily be right there with Judge, Stanton, and Rizzo as like, our top guy. He's that good. And you pay the price for a player like that, especially with the years of control. He offers you offensively, defensively. If he's available, I don't know. But we do know yesterday that, I don't know if we can trust what Hal Steinbrenner says, but he says he's going to listen to everything Cashman brings up to him, whether that's increasing payroll. We know that's a lie. And giving up top prospects, which we know in the past, that's also kind of a sketchy statement. So, I mean, if this year is anything different than years past and Brian Reynolds is on the market, it's going to take Volpe and more. I don't think they pulled the trigger, but Imagine him being a switch hitter in this lineup. It would really, really make things just a heck of a lot easier for us, because just getting one less automatic out in our lineup would be very, very nice.
Donald, what'd you think about him?
It was blessed to see you in person. He's awesome, man. In fact, I was saying to my friend, I was like, "Oh, you're watching a future Yankee right here. This guy's gonna be a future Yankee." And he was crushing the ball left, right, and center. Now he hit doubles, and he made that incredible diving play in center field to save 2 runs in game 1, where Pittsburgh won from Stanton's shot. He made an incredible diving play right there, so he can play. He plays his position well, and offensively, he's a beast. His crushing shots off the wall. He's everything that was advertised. Even though they got absolutely obliterated last night, it wasn't anything to do with him. It was he contributed. It's just that we steamrolled the rest of the team. But no, he's awesome. I would certainly trade everyone but Volpe for him. I still think Volpe is the guy to build around, but that we've got a million shortstops, we've got a million position players that we could easily make a deal happen if we need to. Plus, the Pirates have been a very good trade partner with us for a long, long time. We've got a pretty good. Cashman has a pretty good relationship with the Pirate organization. I think he'd be able to swing a deal.
Yeah. So you said you were teasing your friend that he's a future Yankee. What was his reaction? Like, is this somebody that they're hoping that they do hold on to build around?
No, they laughed about it because they know that the Pirates are our farm team, so it's cool.
Yeah. Because it's you don't usually get the opportunity to get the other side's perspective of how all these players keep coming up, they're showing promise, and they get traded off. That's got to be frustrating.
I would think so. Yeah, I mean, I don't envy that scenario, but no. Listen, I have a ton of respect for the Pirates organization. I just think that their general manager or their owner, I wouldn't say the general manager, their owner doesn't have the for some reason isn't willing to spend the money that it requires to make this team competitive, because there's some really good players in this team, by the way. Hayes is really good. That's Charlie Hayes' son. Yep. Hayes is really good. There's their shortstop. Yeah, love their look. Their shortstop. He's really good. Reynolds is terrific. And then they've got the dude that's really chunky. It looks like Pudge Rodriguez. Vogelback, yeah.
That dude is built like a tank.
He's built like a tank. Rushing the ball. So they've got 3 or 4 guys in that order that are legit. And they're actually not had an awful year. They've had a much better year this year than they did last year. They just need they need better pitching. They need some more pitching and a couple more bats. But this team could be competitive. I actually hope that they don't sell off their good players and build around them.
They only have a couple when you think about it. Reynolds would get them a ton, which even though you can still build around a player like that, he would get you so much in terms of major league ready talent and prospects. Like, you can get, let's say we give them Volpe, one of our many pitchers that we have, whether it's Wesneski or Waldachuk. I don't want to get rid of them, but it would have to be. You probably have another pitcher in there as well. It could even take Clark Schmidt. I mean, there's a lot of players that we have that could benefit them, and every team in baseball would be lining up to get Brian Reynolds, or at least the teams that are in contention. So the Pirates could really benefit from trading him and still be able to field a really good team, because they got a lot of young players. They have some decent pitching. Out of the bullpen, Bednar is ridiculous. So they have pieces. It's a process when you're rebuilding, but if there's one guy they should move, whether it's to us or anybody else in baseball, I don't want him going to a team in our division, but yeah, Reynolds would get you a lot in return, and they're keeping that price tag up because he's got years of control. He's still young. You don't have to pay him that much for a player at that kind of caliber. So yeah, the Pirates hold all the cards in that, so they don't have anything. They don't have to trade him. So that's why if we're gonna move him, you're gonna give us like at least two of your top 10 or 5 prospects.
Yeah, a beautiful ballpark deserves a good team. They really do. They've got an amazing statue of Roberto Clemente outside the stadium, and so they're really connected to the history. And I think they're really good people over here. They definitely deserve a good team representative because their fans are loyal, man. They've stuck through
They were there
through thick and thin. Yeah, it was packed. So I really hope that they have success in the future.
The first game again, of the series, it was their first sellout of the year. They didn't even sell out opening day, but they sold out when the Yankees came to town. And they said it would have been another sellout last night if it wasn't for the rain.
And the Yankee players went to the Roberto Clemente Museum, which I'm going to go to at some point in the next few days. And Judge picked up Clemente's bat, and really heavy. Judge was like, "Oh my god!" He's like, "This is heavy for me," and I'm like 7 foot. And Clemente was only like 5'11", so it just shows the power and the strength that Clemente had. Taken far too soon, but definitely one of the greatest hitters of all time.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of time before, just like with Jackie, I think it's a matter of time before Clemente's number is retired throughout the game.
Yeah, that would be good.
I think that's the only other one I could think of that would warrant that type of honor. But one of the things that we had talked about the other day was how we needed this Pirate series to kind of get everything moving forward again, because everything kind of looked like everything was getting stale. The offense, the pitching, the bullpen wasn't as sharp, even though they weren't getting, tattooed like the Pirates did yesterday. Going into the Boston series, a game like last night is kind of really what they needed. They needed that not that they don't have confidence in themselves, but I think as fans, we wanted that confidence that things are starting to get better and starting to go back to what it was, where we were sitting here going, there's nothing to complain about. But the last couple of weeks, we were finding things to nitpick about that they kept doing, they were taking wrong approaches. Does this make you feel any more confident or comfortable going into the Boston series?
I mean, even though we've hit a snag, quote unquote, we're 7-3 in our last 10 and we got a 14-game lead. So none of the teams are making ground. They've actually lost ground during this little skid, so even when things are kind of teetering, because Tyone looked bad again 2 days ago. He has really struggled since the game where he almost had the no-no, which reminding me a lot of Kluber. And I'm not saying he's hurt, but we saw the same thing with Kluber. He threw the no-hitter, then he struggled, and eventually found out he was hurt. So maybe they look for an arm, or maybe they try to give him a phantom IL stint just to give him some rest. But he's been struggling. Other than that, Cole's been fine. Nestor's been kind of up and down, but it's kind of like he's regressed to what you expect from him because he was just way too good and it didn't make any sense. But he's still been fine. Sevy's been fine. And Montgomery has been doing exactly what he's done his entire career when he's healthy. So I'm not worried about that. The bullpen's been very good. Even the headache had a clean inning yesterday. So golf clap for him. And the bats were going to pick it up eventually. The fact that Judge and Stanton had gone cold at the same time, and then, everybody else, just with Rizzo, who knows where he's coming back. Hopefully he's not hurt for too long. It's just, you needed things to kind of fall back into place. This whole team offensively revolves around Judge. If he's hot, everybody else is going to pick up on it. So if yesterday was the game that got him going, then we got a good chance of at least splitting. I'm not asking for a sweep. Series win, great. But if you go into Fenway, because Boston's still good, prove them you're not to be messed with, but they're going to try to prove that they're not to be messed with either. So best case scenario is obviously a sweep. To me, the worst case scenario, split.
So I said 2 weeks ago that this series coming up is our barometer, because we know we're going to win the division, right? Unless something catastrophic happens, we're going to win the division. It's just it's a barometer as to see where we are when we get into October. Okay. And so we played the Astros. We played them tough, but the Astros have that little bit extra. So we definitely might need to consider upgrading because of the way that the Astros dealt with us pretty handily. Now we take on the Red Sox, and they're one of the hottest teams in baseball. They've been one of the hottest teams in baseball for a while now. They're not going to win the division now because they blew it in April. But it is impressive that as hot as they are, we've actually increased our lead in the division, which is pretty crazy. So I think this will be an interesting series, just as a barometer as to what we may need to improve, where we are, and or if we are exactly what we think we are. We're not going to get, as fun as yesterday was, and it was really good to get everybody contributing and hitting again. That will certainly help us and serve us in the rest of the series. But beating the Pirates or even just sharing that series is not going to be a barometer. The Red Sox is the barometer. So, we'll take it a game at a time and we'll see where we are. But I think this is going to be a big series, not in terms of like the division, but where we think we are and where we need to be. And I'm not thinking even about the division now. I'm actually thinking about October matchups. So that's what I'm thinking.
I don't think it was that the whole thing going back with what you said with the Astros. We were not overmatched. We just got outplayed in that series.
Got outpitched.
Got outpitched. Got no hit.
So yeah, it killed us.
You were there.
I know. I try to erase the game from that day because the day it was such a good day, but I think the fact that if they're able to go into the series with Boston with that same playoff mentality, where even though it's we do have a 14-game lead, Boston's a team that you need to play hard. And really, you want to keep them as far away from you in the division as possible. So if they can get a split or 3 out of 4, I think then you could safely say that they're not going to catch up.
Even if you lose a couple of games, let's say they split, I just don't want it to be like they just completely shut us down, or I don't want to see the offense lay down. I want it to be a tough fight. Even in those Houston games, aside from the no-hitter, the second loss, they had a shot, to win that game. They always have opportunities. So if you lose, but you say that what we've been doing all year for most of the losses, that we've been there till the final out. You just keep fighting. That's what I want to see. But I also want to establish the dominance that we've had in the AL East, saying we're the bully, and you have to take. And we haven't seen Boston since April, so this is kind of like a brand new team that we're facing, because we saw them when the whole thing started. They didn't know what they were yet. They had a bad April. Next thing you know, they're one of the hottest teams in baseball, and they've lost ground on us because we've been just as good, better. So they're looking for blood. And hopefully we're looking for blood too. It might be an old school rivalry, because even though this gap is so wide in the division, they're gonna be a playoff team.
Yep.
And they're gonna want to try to show everyone that they're not to be messed with either. So we could be in for an old fashioned Yankee Red Sox slugfest. I'm not saying they're gonna fight, but I'm saying it's gonna be a hell of a series. So I'm just hope for some good baseball and hope for some Yankee wins. But yeah, this is the one. This is the series that you have to show everybody. Beat them down, beat them damn Sox, and we're the team to mess with in the American League East. And hopefully the rest of the way through, you can say we're the team to mess with in the American League.
I think it's going to emphasize one of the things that Hicks said before the season started on the R2C2 podcast. And he said he's hoping that the Yankees are that team that everybody does not want to play. And they've pretty much been that. He hasn't had the numbers that he's wanted, or he said he was going to, go for. You wanted, what was it? You wanted the 30-30. I'll be lucky. I'll be happy with 15-15 right now. So, but I think that going into a series like this, you want to go off for what Rob was saying. You want to put the nail in the coffin right now.
So what did you guys think of how Steinbrenner's comments yesterday, especially regarding Aaron Judge's contract.
I thought it was weirdly timed to have a press conference like that. It didn't make any sense. They're talking about, they haven't been talking to Judge. Well, no kidding. Nobody, it was already established they weren't going to talk during the year.
Yeah.
The only time they were going to talk was for the arbitration hearing. That was it. So you're not telling us something that we didn't know, or, everybody's wondering what's going on with why aren't we negotiating? We all know why they're not, because players don't like to do that during the season. So I thought that was just a mute point. It didn't even make sense.
Well, it's not just players; it's just the Yankees. They traditionally don't hold negotiations during the season. But I'll tell you what: if there was a time for Hal Steinbrenner to not keep his cards close to his chest, and for Hal Steinbrenner to really push the boat out, I think we could all universally agree this would be the issue in which you do that for Aaron Judge's contract. Because the closer that we get to the time where other teams can start bidding, then that only hurts us. The way just to finish off, he was saying that he didn't want this to be a distraction. Well, I'm sorry, but that ship sailed when they had Aaron Judge almost go to an arbitration hearing over $2 million between. Was it that he wanted? Was it 21 and we were 17, and then they settled on 19. So that almost went to a hearing, while Judge is on course to have one of the most historic seasons in modern Yankee history. It's a terrible look. It's strange. It's a distraction when you make his contract that wasn't signed public. That's a distraction as well. So I don't really want to hear the Yankees try and say that, we don't want to have this as a distraction. It's already been a distraction. That ship has sailed. But you can still recover the situation at Hal Steinbrenner, Brian Cashman. You can recover the situation. Pay the man. It's that simple. What do you need to do? What is it that you're why are you trying to protect your pride and forget pride at the moment? You need to go and pay the man whatever it takes. Pay the man what he deserves, which is the MVP, contract for an MVP player. I mean, A-Rod was saying just the other day, he said that it's 50-50 right now that Aaron Judge comes back. And that's all on the Yankees. It's their fault. They put themselves in this situation. They could have tied him up at any point over the last couple of years. So I'm sorry. If there's a time to do it, it's now. So I didn't really like what Hal Steinbrenner was saying.
Yeah. Rob, your take real quick.
The one thing I will agree with him is that it does take two sides. So if Judge doesn't want to talk, then they can't do it. Hopefully that changes by the All-Star break. But yeah, they put themselves in this position it was ugly from the start. You made the contract offer public. Should not have done that. And you almost go to arbitration with your best player. Shouldn't have done that. So I still think we get him back. I think we're in a better spot now because A-Rod said something, because he's usually not right. So
that's not true. He's usually spot on.
I don't think I don't know.
Savant, man.
I don't know. He's been wrong about a lot of things. I think he's going to be wrong this. I think they'll get him back. I just know that they've handled it poorly. But the one thing I will agree with Steinbrenner about is that it does take two sides. So if they try to talk and Judge says, I don't want it, then you really can't blame the Yankees there. But this should have been done before the season. It should have been done before last year. It should have been done right after his rookie season. But anyway, we've said this before. Hopefully it changes. Hopefully he's a Yankee for life, and I think he will be. But the whole situation's been ugly. He needs to be paid like a top player that he is.
Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting, especially with the All-Star break, if there's going to be any type of whispers, but I doubt it. It's going to be after the season's over. But that's going to wrap things up for us tonight. Hopefully the Yankees take care of Boston the way that they should. Wear your pinstripes with pride and play hard.